So I might just kick off, and anyone who joins a little bit late, they'll miss out on my introduction, but they can watch that on the recording afterwards. So, hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us on today's webinar with Nuzest. So, my name is Kirsten Hunter. I'm the CEO here at Birchal. And just before I introduce the team, I'd like to start by acknowledging the traditional owners of the land that we're calling into you from today. So, Birchal is based on the lands of the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation, and we pay our respects to elders past, present, and emerging, and also acknowledge any Aboriginal or Torres Strait Islander people who are on the call with us today. So today I am joined by Monique, Trevor, and Peter from the Nuzest team. Birchal is working with Nuzest on an upcoming crowdsource funding offer. For anyone who hasn't heard of crowdsource funding before, you might have heard of it as equity crowdfunding. It's a form of fundraising in Australia that allows startups, small and growing businesses to raise capital from a large number of smaller or retail investors, as well as wholesale or sophisticated investors, through an online platform like Birchal. So instead of seeking funding from traditional sources like banks or private equity or venture capital, companies can turn to the general public, often their communities, to raise money in exchange for investors becoming shareholders in their businesses. So for founders, this is a way to turn their passionate supporters into shareholders. And for investors, it's a way for us to be able to back founders and ideas who we want to see succeed. And when they do, we get to have a slice of their success as well. Birchal Financial Services will be the licensed intermediary for this offer. The information that we discuss today on this webinar is for informational purposes only and shouldn't be considered as advice or a recommendation to invest. Please do your own research and always consider the offer document and the general crowdsource funding risk warning before investing. And for more information, you can check out our website at birchal.com. Now, how today's session is going to work. So I'm going to pass across to the Nuzest team to take us through a presentation to give us an overview about what they've built and the history behind the company. We'll then move into a Q&A session. So if you look down at the bottom of your Zoom screen down there, you'll see a little Q&A box. Feel free to drop any questions that you have during the presentation or in the discussion into that question and answer box. I will then facilitate that with the team once we're at the Q&A part of the discussion. Oftentimes I do see questions that touch on similar areas or might be talking about a similar topic. So I won't go through chronologically. I will group them together and make it a little bit easier for our presenters to answer them and get across as many of the questions as we can. We are recording today's session, so if you do have to jump off early, we'll send around a recording over email later today, so you'll be able to catch up on anything you miss. And without further ado, team, I would love to pass across to you.
Okay.
Thank you very
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kirsten.
Right. So introduce ourselves. Yeah, look. Sorry, firstly, I'm Trevor Bolland. I'm the co-founder of Nuzest. To my right here is my daughter Monique, who is also a co-founder. And to my left is Peter Greer, who's been with us for 5 years now. He's our CEO.
Pleased to meet you all.
Now, we thought we'd actually kick off with a little introductory video for anyone that hasn't seen it that just explains a bit about where we came from and where we're headed.
Share screen.
Share screen.
Imagine being 22 and being told you have an incurable disease. That was my reality, and it changed everything in an instant.
When my daughter Monique was diagnosed with MS, it changed everything.
I was sitting around a boardroom table with my dad, and all of a sudden I couldn't swallow. And then it went from I couldn't swallow to I felt like I couldn't breathe. And I got rushed to hospital. And that was, I think, my moment of awakening.
We would come back from the US literally with a suitcase full of tablets and capsules.
And it was making me miserable because every time I had to take them, it was reminding me that I'm sick. And so Dad started looking for products to support my health. He looked at everything on the market and said, we can do better.
The whole world is deficient in nutrients. And so looked at multi-nutrients that might be available in powdered form that incorporated all of these supplements in one. And that was the foundation of Nuzest. We put that into a jar, wrapped the label around it, called it Nuzest, and people just started buying it.
Here we go. Okay, I apologise if you've all seen that before more than once, but many of you may not have. But it's important because it is the essence of our brand. So once again, thank you everyone for joining us today. It does mean a great deal to us to be able to share the Nuzest story with you. What I'd like to say, though, is that this is not a typical business pitch, because as you've seen, Nuzest did not really begin as a typical business. You've seen from the video already that it began as something deeply personal, something that reshaped my thoughts about health, and about what's important in life. Over the next 20 minutes, we'll take you through that story, reinforcing some of the video content again, but showing you what we've built and where we're headed, the mission that drives us every day, and the commercial opportunity that we're offering to share with you now. We believe that daily nutrition and supplementation should be simple, but still feel empowering. It should give people a sense of control over their health and not confuse or overwhelm. As you all know, I'm sure the world is full of complex labels, information overload, and people are confused. They're craving clarity. They want to know exactly what they're putting into their bodies. And this belief has shaped our early decisions and continues to guide the way we build our products and grow our company today. As I said, Nuzest was never meant to be a business. We didn't brainstorm product ideas or design a brand strategy. We weren't looking for a commercial opportunity at all. What began this journey was a single moment that changed our family forever. A moment that demanded immediate focus and clarity. It pushed us into a world we never imagined entering, but one which we quickly became determined to understand. But at the beginning, it wasn't about business. It was about my daughter. When she was 22, she was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. For those of you who don't know what that is, it's a disease it's an autoimmune disease where the immune system attacks the myelin sheath on the central nervous system. And it's like an electric wire with plastic around it. If you put two wires together and the plastic isn't there, they'll short, they'll fuse. And that's what happens with MS. And over time, you get more and more fusions. And the effects of that are worse and worse, because the central nervous system drives everything in your life, in your body. I remember when she was diagnosed, just went into shock. There was fear, there was uncertainty. As a parent, your priorities change instantly. You stop everything. The world narrows to one point: their health, their future, their life. And that moment changed the course of our family's life. It was confronting, but it also created a deep sense of purpose. At that time, there was very little in the way of treatment, and Monique's prognosis was pretty bleak. She has an aggressive form of MS with many lesions on her brain and spine, and she was told she would be in a wheelchair within 5 years. The point is, we knew we had to search for alternative answers.
So we travelled the world looking for solutions. We met with neurologists, functional medicine practitioners, researchers, and nutrition experts all over. The more people we spoke to, the clearer things became. Every expert, regardless of what field they were in, they pointed to the same foundation for long-term resilience. It was nutrition, lifestyle, environment, and consistency. And these weren't quick fixes. They were long-term principles to support well-being. So that insight is what became the foundation of everything that Dad and I built later on. For a while there, I was actually taking 30, 40, 50 different capsules and tablets a day. So that was neither enjoyable or sustainable, not to mention hefty on the wallet. As we searched for quality alternatives that I could trust, nothing met the standard we were looking for. The labels were confusing, the ingredient lists were unclear, and a lot of the products contained fillers, additives, or underdosed ingredients. So what we realized is that the very things that people like myself were relying on for their health were often not built with health in mind. And that's a problem. We thought people deserved better. They deserved to know what they're putting in their body. And if we couldn't find what we needed, well, then we'd go and make it ourselves.
So I'm happy to say that Monique today is healthy, active, and living a full life. Excuse me. No, she's a mother herself now and continues to work with strength and resilience. Her journey became the foundation of Nuzest. It taught us what matters. It taught us how important nutrition is as part of that balanced lifestyle. But it also forced us to find a way to optimize nutritional balance by simplifying daily supplementation, making it easy and enjoyable. So what began as a father trying to help his daughter became a mission with the potential to help thousands and potentially millions of other people.
What we quickly saw was that what helped me could actually help a lot of other people. People everywhere want to feel better, they want energy, they want vitality, they want strength. They want to prevent problems before they actually start. So they want their health to feel manageable and not overwhelming, and they want nutrition that they can trust. So our mission became clear. Take the key principles that helped me, simplify them, scale them, and bring them to people everywhere. That mission still drives every decision that we make at Nuzest today. So what started at our kitchen table has actually grown into a global brand that's actually in more than 25 countries. We're serving customers across Australia, New Zealand, the United States, the UK, Europe, the Middle East, and Asia. We've built strong regional partnerships, we've created loyal customer communities, and we've established a reputation for clean, trustworthy products. As we've said, we didn't begin with a commercial strategy, we began with a mission, and that mission resonated with people all over the world.
People today want to improve their health, but they are overwhelmed by the social media marketing, conflicting information, inconsistent quality, and confusing labels. They buy products that promise the world, but then often deliver very little. They try to eat better, but do not know where to start. They feel like they're doing everything and still not feeling their best. The lack of clarity creates frustration and fatigue. People crave simple, clean, trusted solutions that they want confidence in what they take. That is the space in which we operate. The global supplements industry will be worth more than 300 billion in 2030. It is growing fast. Within that, premium plant-based nutrition is one of the fastest growing segments. Daily protein, greens, multi-nutrients, and functional blends are becoming everyday essentials for millions of people. Consumers are shifting away from low-quality, mass-produced products and moving toward transparent, evidence-led brands. This shift is happening globally. We sit directly in the center of this growth.
And we built Nuzest differently. From day one, our focus has been on clean ingredients, evidence-based formulations, full transparency, and no shortcuts. We partner with leading scientists and researchers, we use high-quality ingredients with real dosages, and we don't hide behind proprietary blends. We use manufacturers with world-class standards, and this approach has earned us trust from athletes, health experts, and families all over the world. People know exactly what they're taking with Nuzest, and they feel the difference, and that trust is our strongest advantage. Our product range focuses on simple, essential daily nutrition, each product solving a real need and supporting long-term vitality.
So, Good Green Vitality is our flagship product. It's more than a multi and much more than just greens. It's a daily supplement that in just 10 grams or a couple of teaspoons of powder contains more essential micronutrients than many people consume over several meals. It's designed to help fill the gaps in our modern diets and includes over 75 ingredients supporting energy, immunity, digestion, cognition, and overall well-being. The end objective is simply to make you feel good. In fact, we used to be called the real good superfood.
Feel good.
It's suitable for almost everyone, from the elderly to athletes and professionals to people recovering from illness. Then we have Clean Lean Protein, which is a very high quality plant-based protein from Europe. Where it comes from is important because you can trust it. It contains all 9 essential amino acids. It's easy to digest. It's free from all major allergens. Unlike many plant-based proteins, it also has a smooth texture, mixes well, and tastes good. Then we have kids' good stuff. That's the children's version of Good Green Vitality, providing nutrients that support their immune systems, their growth, and their overall well-being. It's ideal for fussy eaters and for giving parents peace of mind. We've also branched out a little, extending our product range into specific functional supports such as gut health, immunity, and even hair, skin, and nails. But each formula is built with intention, and every decision supports the mission of helping people feel better every day. Nuzest is not only trusted for everyday nutrition, but also by individuals who place high demands on their bodies and minds, from international athletes to high-performance professionals. Our products are used because they deliver results. When people who rely on a product's performance trust it, then everyday consumer pays attention. And when customers feel the difference, they tend to stay with the brand. And this blend of expert trust and real-world results is a powerful driver of growth.
Proof and momentum. We now serve multitudes of customers worldwide, and this number continues to grow. Our repeat purchase rates are strong. Our subscription base is expanding. Our product reviews average 4.7 out of 5. When people try Nuzest, they tend to stay with Nuzest. They build rituals around it. They recommend it to friends and family, and this loyalty is one of the strongest indications of a true product market fit and major driver of our long-term growth. Last year, we generated revenue to the tune of $14 million across our global regions. Even though this was through periods of restructuring and global disruption, we preserved revenue and strengthened our foundation. Today, we operate with a leaner, more efficient structure, improved margins, and a clear path to growth and expansion. This combination of resilience, commercial performance, and operational stability positions us well for the next phase of growth. Fixed cost rationalization delivered a further 15% reduction in FY25, generating more than $2 million of sustainable annual earnings versus where we were in FY22. Annual savings, I beg your pardon, in 22, and reducing the EBIT break-even revenue from 24 million to 15 million. Our growth comes from a balanced mix of channels, approximately 35% from direct to consumer, that being our website, 45% from retail and business to business, and 20% from marketplaces and distributors. This diversification protects the business, strengthens cash flows, and gives us a multitude of engines for expansion. It also ensures that we are not dependent on any one single region or channel. We have built a resilient commercial model designed for global scale. Nuzest now operates across the US, UK, Europe, Australia, New Zealand, the Middle East, and Asia. Each region has dedicated teams or exclusive distributors driving growth. This global footprint allows us to operate with strength and flexibility. Our regional fulfillment centers, strong supply chain, and scalable systems ensure we can move quickly as demand grows. It has taken years to build these foundations, and we are now ready to scale them. We are stocked in trusted retailers such as Boots and Whole Foods in the UK, and are growing across Amazon in the US, UK, Australia, and Europe. These channels enhance visibility, create credibility, and establish robust customer acquisition funnels. Being ranged in respected retailers sends one message: quality. It reinforces the trust our customers already have and helps new customers discover the brand with confidence. Behind the scenes, we have built a world-class operational structure. We manufacture regionally to reduce risk and increase efficiency. We use third-party logistics fulfillment hubs in the UK, EU, US, and Australia to ensure fast delivery. We have strengthened regulatory compliance, financial systems and governance, and supply chain controls. These foundations provide us with stability, enabling us to grow without compromising quality or consistency. The infrastructure is built. We're now ready to scale. Our business model is built on sensible margins, loyal repeat buyers, and a growing subscription base. Direct consumer sales give us a strong margin retention. Retail partnerships give us reach and regional trust. Marketplaces accelerate acquisition. Distributors open new markets efficiently. This combination creates a business with resilience, traction, and long-term scalability. The model is proven. We're ready to amplify that with you. We now have everything required for global scale: a trusted brand, a proven product range, strong customer loyalty, international infrastructure, lean operations, and a leadership team with deep experience in nutrition operations, retail marketing, and global expansion. We are not a startup trying to validate an idea. We're a well-established international company with the foundations, demand, and vision necessary for long-term growth. We are raising capital to accelerate our expansion into priority markets, particularly the US, UK, and Australia. This includes the rollout of our Nuzest Pro sports range next year. These regions offer significant growth opportunities where we are already seeing strong traction. Capital enables us to scale marketing, expand retail partnerships, support inventory, and achieve deeper market penetration with greater speed. The foundation is in place. We now need to fuel it. The raise allows us to move faster with confidence. It unlocks growth, marketing across multiple regions. It provides us with the inventory needed to meet demand. It supports new product development. It strengthens regional structures, and it ensures we can capitalize on the global momentum in premium nutrition. This raise is not about survival. It is about scale. It is about capturing the opportunity ahead of us. Approximately 50% of the funding will support working capital and manufacturing to keep us up with product demand. Up to 30% will be directed towards growth marketing and customer acquisition. Around 6% will support new product development, with the balance allocated to other costs and contingency.
We see a clear long-term vision for Nuzest, a global brand recognized for integrity, science, and meaningful impact on people's health. Over the next 5 years, we will expand into priority regions, deepen our product range, strengthen our partnerships, and continue to build trust with customers who rely on Nuzest every day. The demand for clean, premium daily nutrition continues to accelerate. Our infrastructure is built for scale, our team is experienced, and our mission remains the same: help people feel better every day. Our leadership team spans New Zealand, Australia, UK, and the USA, as Peter just explained. But together they bring decades of experience across nutrition, regulation, supply chain, quality control, marketing, and operations. The team has rebuilt this business, strengthened its foundations, and positioned Nuzest for growth. Their experience and commitment give us the capability and confidence to execute our long-term strategy.
So why crowdfunding? Crowdfunding is the most natural step for Nuzest because our entire mission has always been about helping people improve their health. We didn't begin as a business. We began as a family trying to solve a real problem. And over the years, we've built a community of loyal customers, some of whom have been purchasing Nuzest every month for nearly a decade. These people aren't just customers, they're part of our story. So inviting them to participate in our next chapter is the right thing for us to do. It aligns with our values, it strengthens our community, and it gives the people that have supported us from the beginning a chance to be part of what comes next. So this raise is about scale, but it's also about community. It's about growing our mission with the people who believe in us the most.
The offer is simple. We are raising $2 million in growth capital. This capital will enable us to expand into key markets, support inventory, scale our marketing efforts, and enhance global operations. It provides investors with the opportunity to be part of a proven international brand, strong foundations, loyal customers, and a clear plan to growth. This is the next chapter of Nuzest, and we are opening the door for people who believe in what we do. We are at a pivotal point in our journey. We have built the foundations, we have a strong brand, we have the demand, we have the infrastructure, and we have a clear strategy for international expansion. What we need now is the capital to accelerate our growth and capture the global opportunity in front of us. The timing is right, the category is growing, the demand is real, and we are ready to move.
So thank you for your time and for letting us share the Nuzest story with you. Repeating what I said before, it began as a deeply personal journey and has evolved into a global mission, helping people improve their health every day. Our vision is strong, our values are clear, our opportunity is significant, and our commitment to helping people remains unwavering. We would love for you to join us as we take Nuzest into its next chapter and continue building a global brand that genuinely improves people's lives. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, team, for taking us through that presentation. I'm sure all of the investors on the call got just as much out of it as I did. And I'm really glad that you decided to start with the video as well, because I think that personal story behind Nuzest is so important. And it comes through in all of the interactions that we've had as the Birchal team with the Nuzest team over the last couple of months, getting ready for this raise today. And one of the things I always love as well is getting to see that real personal connection, because I think as a founder and as a business leadership team, that's what keeps you going when things get hard, is that real reason for being and that mission to help people feel better every day. So thank you. That came through really, really impactfully in the presentation. So for anyone who's sitting here who has questions, I'm sure you all have a lot of questions. Some of them have been trickling through already. A couple of the easier ones for me I've answered already, so you can check in the answered bucket on the Q&A thing as well. If anyone still has questions, you can drop them into that Q&A box down there and I'll bring them together as we go. But I might kick off with a couple, moderator's privilege before I move into the ones on the screen. So team, I wonder, crowdsource funding it's a new idea for you guys to come to. And as you say, like, you're not a startup validating an idea, you're an existing business. I know you touched on this, but can you give us a little bit more information about why crowdsource funding is the right decision for Nuzest and how you see this playing into the strategy going forward?
I think you actually covered this pretty well in the introduction as well. Is crowdsource funding it allows our customers and people to genuinely become part of our journey. So for us, we looked at what's gotten us to where we are today, and it's our loyal customers. We have people that have been buying our products for 8, 10, 12 years, and we're ready to take that next step. Those are the people that we want to grow with us. Like, we love the idea of them actually helping us shape our future and our wins being their wins.
Amazing. And why now? What is it that gives you the confidence at this point in time to, that now's the right time to go out and raise capital? And what gives you the confidence that now's the right time to scale profitably?
Kirsten, so I think there are a couple of parts to that question. First of all, I think all the heavy lifting's been done. We were talking through that presentation now at length about how much work's been done over the past few years in laying foundations, both from a systemic point of view, picking a very, very invigorated team. In fact, we call them our dynamos because they just generate so much activity and go after everything in what have been very trying times for our business. So we have that in place. We have this unification of information that's at their fingertips so that they can and we can make decisions very quickly and on the go without management input and prompting. And we've built an operating model that's quite scalable. So with the last few months that we've been having break-even EBIT results, that's puts us in a very strong position where any incremental revenue drops straight through to EBIT or profitability. And I also think that when one creates that environment and it has those factors that I mentioned, it creates a higher probability for success. So I have great conviction that we're on the right road, and we've created a good environment to solicit other people's money into our business and to use it to deliver value both for them and also for the organisation. So I think it's certainly an exciting time for us in the years to come.
Yeah, absolutely. We might just sort of go a little bit deeper on that. I know that this, health food supplement space is quite crowded, but you guys are really, really clear on what's your point of difference compared to the other players out there in the market. So I wonder if you can sort of share with the investors on the call, what is it that makes Nuzest's model defensible when there are so many other people trying to play in this space?
Well, I think firstly, it's our brand story. I mean, it's genuine. There are lots of brands out there with stories. Some of them are genuine, many of them are fabricated. But, we definitely have a genuine story, and you will have seen from our presentation there, every time I tell it, I get a bit emotional. Secondly, but people like genuine stories. I mean, the consumers love it. It creates trust. Second is our product integrity. So look, we've got evidence-led formulations, full transparency on our labels on our website in terms of what's in there, and they're endorsed by professionals. So that integrity gives trust. And I guess thirdly, it's our customer loyalty. Now, we've had people taking our products daily for over 10 years. That's there, and they tell other people about it. So I think those are the three main things that make us different.
Yeah, fantastic. I'm going to go to one of the questions that's come through the Q&A, and I might just read this one out in a little bit of detail rather than summarising it, because I think in a couple of ways, it actually really speaks really well to what you're saying. So Peter says he's been a user of Nuzest for 7 or 8 years now, particularly GGV and CLP. And whenever he's walking past a shop selling these kinds of products, he always looks for the Nuzest products just to see if they're there. Sometimes they are, sometimes not. When they are, it's quite often in a smaller section or a corner somewhere, generally outweighed by the larger brands in terms of the presence and the shelf space. So I love this because it sort of goes to show that customer loyalty point. In asking the question, you've really emphasised what the team's been saying. So thank you for that little free customer insight there. But the question is, how are you thinking now with this capital raise about increasing that market presence, and how are you going to take this from strength to strength with this investment that
I'm assuming this is an Australian question from someone in Australia. So I'll explain a little bit about why we haven't got huge retail presence in Australia. Is that we never took control of distribution ourselves here. And even though we're an Australian based from a headquarters perspective, our focus was on New Zealand, UK, USA, and that's still where the greater part of our business is. So we use some independent distributors here without a huge amount of success, but we didn't give it the focus that it needed. That in itself has created a huge opportunity for us, because it means that the field is wide open in Australia, and it means that there's huge opportunity and room for growth. So yes, part of the funds will be used definitely for extending that growth into Australia and getting more presence both into retail channels, but also online.
Fantastic. All right. There's a specific question on here. Someone had their intro to Nuzest via Cliff Harvey. I did see Cliff on your team page, so this question might have already been answered, but maybe this is an opportunity for us to talk about the broader team that you've built and the capabilities that you have, and how you're thinking about the kind of the development of new products. So
what's the actual question though?
Is Cliff still on board, and if so, in what capacity?
Oh, right. Yeah, definitely. Cliff's our lead formulator. So Cliff's a PhD nutritionist based in New Zealand. We use a group of people, a group of experts to help us in our formulations, and improving our formulations as time goes on. But Cliff is the lead formulator for us. He still is. And he's very much part of our business and very much on board.
We just spent Friday afternoon over in Auckland shooting some content with Cliff, actually.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, with Nonu, the ex-All Black. So we spent the day with him, and Cliff was a big part of that. And we did a big podcast with him as well. Yeah.
Very much still part of the team.
Yeah, cool. Can't wait to see that come out. All right. So next question. The foundation of your brand is really based around purity and the quality of your ingredients. And again, I think that's something that came through really, really clearly in the presentation. So as you scale, how are you thinking about maintaining that quality of your various inputs and making sure that the quality of the product doesn't degrade as you get bigger and expand your reach?
Oh, look, there's enormous capacity with our contract manufacturers and our ingredient suppliers to scale. We're actually small in comparison to some brands out there, in fact, to many of the big brands. So we've got no worries about that. There's no shortage of supply in our nutrients for good green vitality. Protein is a big thing. It's a growing channel. And for us, we've had a long-term relationship with our supplier in Europe ever since we've started. So we have long-term supply contracts in place with them that we commit to at the beginning of each year. Even during periods when there was a pea protein shortage, they always made sure we were supplied. We're not their biggest customers, but we're one of their main customers, and we work very closely with them.
But I think it also has a lot to do with the fact that we have maintained these really close personal relationships with everyone in the business, the manufacturers especially, and we are so strict about which manufacturers we choose to partner with.
Yeah, fantastic. All right, great answer. So we have had a couple of questions come through around the profitability, the financial performance of the business. Just so that everyone is aware as well, when the offer does go live, the offer document that becomes available at that time will have all of the financial information on the company there. So you will be able to dig into this in detail at that point, and you can ask questions to the team through the Birchal platform then as well. But the question earlier on was, can you talk to the profitability of the business, which you did touch on in the presentation, and then I know that you've made a lot of investments into the business to get it to this point. You have recently gotten to a positive EBIT. Let me just weave in this question. What are the financial benefits for the investors? So we might come back to that in a second. But what EBIT do you think you need to be able to follow through on delivering the strategy and the goals that you have in the business?
I'll let Peter answer the EBIT bit, but I'll just give a bit of background and context to this, because we started out as just a wholesaler. We didn't actually own the distribution channels. So we were a very successful and very profitable wholesale business. As the businesses grew, it became necessary and optimal for us to actually acquire those distribution channels in the USA, UK, Australia, and New Zealand and own them ourselves. So the last 3 or 4 years have actually been spent investing in those, transforming those businesses and transforming ourselves into a sales and marketing business, not just a wholesaler. That has taken capital. So what you will see is rationalization over the last 3 years in terms of getting the operational expenses down as we consolidate and optimize to get to the point. And also, we've also invested and continue to invest, redoing the website. We've hired key people, things like that, to get the foundation right. So we're now at a position where we have this foundation, good revenues, a global footprint, which we now use the capital to scale. But Peter will talk to what revenues we need to break even and to move forward, and what our EBIT should look like.
Yeah, so that's right. Thanks, Trevor. So I think we spoke a little bit about that fixed cost reduction. We've managed to sustainably remove $2 million out of the business. Our big line items in our P&L are cost of sales, obviously marketing, and then people costs. So people are incredibly important to us, but we're also very careful about the people that we allow into our business. We're meticulous about that. So that should remain intact, and we believe we've got the right footprint to actually sustain the growth going forward without accruing material additional fixed costs. So on that basis, we do see sort of EBIT break even just below $15 million, we would need to see EBIT at a sort of 5% margin in order to break the cash flow piece and to balance that part of the equation. But we do, with some of the opportunities that we have in front of us, those again, I think in terms of the requirements and regulations, I won't say too much, but I think we've got some nice opportunities with really large retailers in both Europe as well as in the USA, and a digitally led strategy now that focuses on growth that I think will see us move past that point. And hopefully not come back to it.
I think the important thing to understand with that is that because we've spent the money to get the foundation right and the infrastructure there, by saying it's ready to scale, it means that as we scale and grow the revenues, apart from cost of goods, the actual manufacturing side of it, all the other costs do not have to go up very much. They pretty well stay the same. So the more revenue you create, the more our EBIT improves. So it can grow exponentially, but we've got to have that revenue growth to do it.
No, great job answering that one. And yeah, it is, I think, one of the really interesting and exciting things about this opportunity is all of the work and the investment that the team has put into building out this product, its footprint, their base of operations, does put them in this position where the use of funds is a lot more about scale rather than validation, as I said during the presentation. The first part of this question, I'll take this one, which is what exactly are the financial benefits for investors? Now, I really wish that I could give you exact financial benefits. Unfortunately, this starts to stray into that area that I mentioned at the start around this not being advice. But let me just explain. So through this investment process, investors will become shareholders in Nuzest. And as a shareholder, there are two main ways in which your investment can can deliver return to you as an investor. The first one is if the company that you've invested in becomes profitable and starts to distribute some of those profits to the shareholders in the format of dividends. So that's pathway one, is profitable business turns to profitability. They share those profits with shareholders through dividends. Pathway two of the way an investment in shares can become profitable is if the value of the business grows. And so if you invest at a certain valuation and then in a couple of years' time the valuation increases, then the value of your shareholding will increase proportionately as well. That one's a little bit more tricky to understand, I suppose, and a little bit more tricky to realize, because generally getting the value out of an increase in the value of your shareholding comes from an exit event like a public listing on the ASX or a similar platform. It might come from someone else acquiring the company. It might come from what we call a secondary share sale, which is where existing shareholders can sell their shares to other shareholders as well. But being a privately held company, those opportunities are less straightforward, I suppose, than when you're investing in publicly listed companies like shares on the ASX. So that is something to consider when you're thinking about your investment. Again, there's a lot of information around this and the kind of risk warning for crowdsourced funding investments on our website, which is birchal.com. So thank you for the question. And I wish I could give you a more predictive answer, but unfortunately that's the nature of investing in business, is that no one really knows for sure. So we've just got to find companies and ideas that we love and we believe in and back them to the best that we can. For the rest of the team, there's a question on here around some of the challenges. So maybe I might sort of give this one to each of you. What are the challenges that each of you are focused on at the moment? You know, what's the thing that when you wake up at 2 a.m. and you can't get back to sleep that's buzzing through your mind?
You haven't got enough time.
Just one thing.
Look, we're a global business, so we've got teams all over the world and we've got suppliers all over the world. So, on a daily basis, there's bound to be something happening somewhere that's making you wake up and say, "Oh, I've got to answer that email in the morning," or "I've got to do this." So, look, there are a lot of moving parts. So I think that's the biggest challenge for us. But we've got a good team that's handling those moving parts.
I would have to second that. It's the having a global team, which is wonderful and it's so exciting, but it also means that we're on,
24 hours a day.
24 hours a day, because somebody's always up and working. So there's always something to do.
Yeah.
But I mean, you've got to love your job, and luckily we do.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think sometimes the technology helps, but sometimes it's also a little bit of a speed bump. I think, part of all this work that's been done to create this footprint that we have globally, and it sort of ties into what both Monique and Trevor were saying, is that focus is key for us. So keeping aligned with the main strategy and what we want to execute, we can easily find ourselves into discussing a variety of opportunities. I mean, we've got a supply chain that delivers into multiple markets via multiple channels. We're thinking about things, for example, where we could work with other brands and on a drop shipping basis, on a consignment stock basis, get more volume through the system, because that's all built, because all the teams are there. So it's this constant battle between, when do we consider something such as that opportunity, which is relatively large, and how focused should we be on purely the Nuzest business for now. So much has gone into everything around the Nuzest business and setting it up for success, but that's opened up all of these other doors too. So I think it's just the timing around when one considers all of these opportunities and decides to execute on them is also quite a big headache at times.
Yeah. Fantastic. All right. Question on here around other brands and companies that you benchmark yourselves to. So what are the brands that you admire, or what are the brands that you're watching? And what are the performance metrics that you focus on for Nuzest performance, to know that you're on track and to monitor how the business is growing?
Well, we're the benchmark. I honestly tend to try and not look too much at the competition and what they're doing. I have reverse engineered lots of formulas and done all those sorts of things, but we just focus on what we're doing. We try and produce the best product that we possibly can. And, I do that knowing that it's for me. The original intention was it was for Monique, but it still is, and it's for people like her. So we're not going to compromise on that. And I don't care what anyone else does. It's what I do or what we do that matters. And so that's the focus. So, yeah, there are other brands out there. A lot of them have a huge amount of money behind them, so that it's all marketing driven. Yeah, that's fine. But there are other good products out there as well. That's good. There's room for everyone. So I really don't focus too much on it, quite honestly.
We do often tell our team members, don't focus on what the competition is doing, because it distracts you. Just focus on what you're doing and do it the best.
Yeah, and then I think just maybe to add the metrics around success. So we've broken that out in a great deal of detail around our channel operations in each market. So marketplaces behave very differently to our business-to-business customers, behave very differently to our website customers. So we've got very strict parameters around what the investments in each one of those look like against targets that we keep track of. And then alongside that, we're keeping a very close eye on inventory, that there's enough in the pipeline to ensure continuity in each one of those channels. And then also looking at if there's too much inventory potentially available, so that we don't end up with a product that's got in most cases, a 24-month useful life, that we're turning that around and collaborating appropriately with sales and marketing teams to make the right decisions, so that we then move that along. So a multitude of metrics, but I think the key fact there is that's been unified. It's available to the teams up and down the sort of hierarchy, if you like, so that we can make those decisions that come as a challenge of a global business more quickly and execute on them well.
Yeah. I think what's, just to add to that, Peter, I mean, you've been here for 5 years, and what he's been focusing on over those 5 years is building very robust financial and operational systems and information. So, we can go into great detail and analyze how many serves of a particular flavor have been sold in a particular channel in a particular country. I mean, it's right, extreme detail that we can go to and analyze. So we're watching all of those metrics all the time, which enables us to move quickly and adapt.
And obviously what we're tracking, the metrics we're tracking differ by channel because some of them are about reach and publicity, whereas some are, direct sales. So yeah, we could go into a lot of detail, but it would take the rest of the day.
No, I love it. And sort of related question on that. So it was just around are senior management incentives linked to those metrics? But in response to the question that you've just given, I wonder maybe instead if we can speak to the team alignment and how you make sure that the senior team working with you and the broader team are focused on that overall, the overall goal and performance of the company and the mission that you're setting out to achieve.
Handcuffs.
Regular open communication.
Yeah, but we've got a scheme. You can talk about the ESOP scheme.
Yes, yeah. So we do a couple of things. We've as part of this process, we've reviewed our constitution. So we've got an ESOP plan that's in the pipeline. But more immediately, we have an annual cash incentive plan as well, which looks at individual performance metrics in terms of objectives that are set annually and reviewed on a quarterly basis so that we can have an ongoing conversation with our teams against that. The other piece of that, of course, is company performance, which is linked to two things, business activity or sales and profitability. Unfortunately, and it's something, again, that we're hoping is going to resolve itself as we move forward, is that those two form an equation and they're applied to each other. So we've been in a situation where we haven't been profitable just yet. So regardless of personal performance, the company performance from a profitability standpoint hasn't always been there. It has in certain cases, but we do this at a regional level. So we apply that factor, and then unfortunately there's not too much of a reward financially that comes out of that. So we try and do that more through other mechanisms that we have, which we can concentrate on their personal performance on. But that scheme is in place and I think well understood throughout the business, and also appreciated that incentives should be self-funded. It shouldn't come off the balance sheet. It should come out of performance. So, and that's how we operate the business. So that's also in place. And we
do have key people with shareholding. So, and we're putting in place a more formal shareholding scheme in place. But those key people right now, the ones that we have, already know that they're participating in the growth ahead.
Yeah, fantastic. And thank you for sort of giving a little bit of the colour behind that complexity there as well, and the maturity behind how you're thinking about it. Just for investors on the call as well, for anyone who hasn't seen a crowdsourced funding offer before, when that offer document comes out, when the actual offer is live, it will contain all of this information around the current state of the cap table. And so what I mean by that is who are all of the existing shareholders, what proportion of the company do they own, what proportion of the shares on issue are allocated towards that employee share option program. So all of this information in specificity will be contained in that offer document as well for you to review prior to making your investment decision.
Yeah, can I just talk to that? In there is a shareholder which is a unit trust, and the key people are within that unit trust. So the people aren't named. It's because it's a trust. But so just in case there's any confusion when people start looking for individual names like Peter Grief in the document, it actually won't be seen because it's within that trust.
Yeah, makes sense. Thanks for clarifying. A similar question here. So the valuation of the business, and therefore what proportion of the business this $2 million raise would represent, will be sort of part of that offer document as well. So, it is sort of subject to a little bit of refinement over the next couple of days before the offer does go live. But how are you thinking about the proportion of the business that this $2 million would represent at the moment? Like what kind of percentage range will that represent in terms of the ownership of the business that will now be taken up by the new crowdsourced funding shareholders?
It would be approximately 10% of the business.
Great.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. We have a number of specific questions on here around revenue performance, the sales projections. I'm actually not going to talk through these line by line, and apologies, Lydia, for not addressing this question specifically, partly because this information will be available in the offer document when the offer does go live next week, but also partly because some of the forward-looking stuff falls into what we call prospective financial information, which we're actually not allowed to speak to as part of a crowdsourced funding campaign. But there were some parts of this question that I would love to pass across to you, team, before we get to the end of the webinar, which is you did touch on how many customers you have and what proportion of those are repeat customers, and you know how do you define repeat? Is it monthly or is it another kind of time frame? And how do you have plans on the marketing side? Do you have plans to do things like influencer marketing to grow your visibility online?
Who's going to answer that?
I mean, I can speak to the marketing side of it. I mean, definitely, you know, this funding is about reach and scale, and that is, you know, a lot of that is marketing. It's going out, it's influencers. Typically, to date, we don't really pay for it, like our large-scale endorsements. So our big athletes and big names, we don't pay these people to endorse our products. They genuinely believe in our products. But I also understand that to get the scale of amplification that we need, influencers play a huge part in that. And so that is a funded part of our marketing plan.
But we like to focus on influencers that are truly influential for the product itself. In other words, credibility, not just a model holding up a jar.
Yeah, no, we have a whole program called our Professional Partner Program, which is where we partner with qualified sports professionals, health professionals, people that have true influence within their circles, and they work on like a commission-based sales program with us. So it's a partnership where we promote them as much as they promote us.
Fantastic. Very exciting. I'm conscious of time, so I am going to wrap up the webinar here. There are a couple of questions on the Q&A box that I haven't gotten to, and a couple that are quite specific around particular ingredients and reports and those kinds of things. So to those shareholders, investors who have asked those questions, I'll pass them across to the team and they can come back to you over email with answers to those questions. In particular, Grant, thanks so much for being here, given that you're calling in from the US as well. So really just want to acknowledge that being a global product like Nuzest is, we do have interested potential investors from all over the world. Appreciate you being here. And for those who weren't able to make it, as I said before, we will share the recording from the webinar afterwards. So Trevor, Monique, Peter, thank you so much for taking the time with us today, for sharing the updates on the business in the presentation at the start, and for being so open to the questions as we've worked through for the last half an hour. As I mentioned, the recording will be sent around to everyone who registered for this webinar in case anyone missed out, or for those of you still here to hear me say that, in case you missed the start, you can go back and rewatch it. The expression of interest campaign for Nuzest is live for another week. So if you haven't already, jump onto the Birchal website, to the Nuzest page, and pop your expression of interest in. That will mean that you'll be one of the first people who's able to jump in and take advantage of this investment opportunity when it does go live next week. So the early access offer campaign will open on the 25th of November. So get your expression of interest in before then so that you can be one of the people who has that early access. So thank you again, everybody, for joining us today. Really appreciate you being here. Trevor, Monique, Peter, thank you again. And any other questions that anyone didn't get to ask, feel free to shoot them through afterwards, or you can go onto the Birchal website and there is a Q&A box on the website that you can pass questions through to the team as well. Hope you all have a wonderful rest of the day.
Thank you very much for hosting this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.